Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Service Business Mastery podcast. We are sitting here with Forrest Perry, who is actually my roommate for the weekend. For those of you who don't know Forrest, could you introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, guys, really happy to join. And I have been quietly a home service career guy. I started out owning a moving company right out of college. The only thing I loved about that business was the marketing. I couldn't babysit employees. Some people are experts at that. I failed miserably. So we ended up selling that business a few years later and starting a journey in digital marketing. And so these days we take care of 80 companies across home services, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and garage doors primarily. And all we do is pay-per-click.
And that's definitely what we want to talk about here because it's unique, right? Because a lot of times in the agency space and in the marketing space, it's like, well, you can't just do one thing. You got to do all these other things, right? And that's kind of it's the push both by coaching companies and by even contractors.
Mhm.
They're like, well, I want one marketing company. And
Yeah.
I guess give me your take on that because you focus. I guess why did you focus on PPC? What was it about paid ads that you just realized that you were either getting really good at, or what drew you to that part?
Well, early on in pay-per-click, it could, you could throttle up and down. You could have an instant impact on a business, much more. Um, and so it was just this rush of taking a brand new brand and going, okay, now you have 15 calls a day, from nothing. And then you could, you could scale a company pretty quickly. And I had the pleasure, my first marketing job was with a garage door company and infamously known as a GDS or neighborhood garage door service. Thankful for my time there, but we went from 10 million to 100 plus million, and about 55 million of that was pay-per-click.
Wow.
And we would go into a market, we open up Kansas City, so you got a couple techs step off a plane in Kansas City. They're like, okay, let's open up the branch. So we flip on pay-per-click, and all of a sudden they each have 3 jobs a day,
Yeah.
from day one. And that sort of instant impact is attractive with pay-per-click,
Yeah. Yeah. Because you could literally start an ad campaign, launch it, and the phone could ring in literally
Yeah,
like 5 minutes or less. I mean,
100%.
it could.
Yeah,
Not that it always does, but it could.
right. And, Josh, you're incredible at SEO. You've got great referrals all over the industry. You're also more patient than I am. SEO requires patience. You know, we cooked an apple pie at the house the other day, and I was like, "What? That damn thing has to sit in the oven for an hour? What? What's going on here?" So, yeah, I don't have the patience to wait around and master the SEO like you guys. So,
So as far as how long have you been running paid ads for other companies?
gosh, my first client was probably that was in 2011.
Okay.
2011 after I
So the
sold.
landscape's changed a little bit.
Yes, yeah, 100%. I mean, excuse me. Everything is so much more sophisticated. Holy cow. I mean, the audiences, the location targeting, all the little knobs and handles you can tweak. Just remarketing now across multi-channels. I mean, so for example, if I show an AC repair ad to 10 people, right? Out of 10 clicks, one of those clicks will turn into a paid job. One of those clicks will turn into a paid customer. Well, you have 9 clicks that didn't, maybe it resulted in a call or maybe, it dropped off somewhere in the funnel. So we need to remarket to those people. You need to, and so there's kind of an entire ecosystem of that you create to make sure you're still top of mind with these people. And um, there's a lot of fancy AI and stuff that goes into that, to allow that. So
Yeah, I would assume so, especially with software. I mean, how do you feel about that stuff? I know we had that conversation totally offline when we're in the room just talking
yeah,
marketing, but just to tell the listeners, like, because that stuff gets promoted by marketing companies, like they got the greatest next, I mean, the next best thing since sliced bread, right? Like
mhm,
they got the greatest automation and AI thing they've ever seen in their life.
yeah.
What's your feelings on some of that stuff when it relates to AI and automation versus a trained human eye?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the fundamentals have to be there. I mean, yeah, people can do this well. There's agencies that, well, they'll throttle down your ads if you're once you're booked out for the day. Okay, which okay, if I throttle down ads today, then I'm losing install estimates for the next 3 days. I'm losing opportunities for 2 weeks out, right? So you lose momentum when you throttle ads, when you knee jerk in marketing. So I think a lot of the little tricks that agencies are doing is a little bit of can be a little smoke and mirrors. You fundamentally, it always comes back to you need an amazing landing page and you need an ad that is relevant to what that user is searching. If I'm searching heating repair, I need to see a heating repair ad with a heating repair landing page talking about with an offer about heating repair. And so I think most agencies fail at that. They'll use a generic landing page, just saying, "Hey, we're an air conditioning company," instead of speaking to the relevancy of that specific search term. And so,
So do you, as far as, because this is always a question that I see in forums, and I get asked the same thing when somebody wants to work with a pay-per-click provider because we don't provide that service. Should they go to the website or should they go to a landing page? Like a
yeah,
landing page that's specific versus like a website page that might have that service, but obviously they're trying to rank that page for SEO.
yeah, I'll tell you. So we manage about 3 million a month. We're just blessed to have a lot of really wonderful people that trust us to help us get there. What that means is we have a ton of data, a ton of advantage, and we're always A/B testing, badges, buttons, pictures, colors, and all these things. Um, 100% a real website will always outperform a landing page, and I
Why?
have
So why do you think that is?
well, the average PPC user, uh, clicks on 1.8 pages
Okay.
before they convert, and so most of the time, that user wants to click somewhere. They wanna click and go to a different page. They wanna see your About Us. They wanna see maybe another service that you provide before they convert, and so you need to, at least appear like it's a normal looking website. So, it doesn't I think consumers are smart now. They know when they're being sold to, you know? Um, and so you need to take that away and present an authentic experience where they can scroll around and have the control.
So when it comes to those landing pages and websites and stuff like that, because obviously for a long time websites have always been, well, let's show a picture of the happy family, right? And
Yeah.
you've seen probably the same or different happy families as actors and stock images for a long time. We're a big fan of actually showing your team, your brand, which I know you came over here with a book from Dan Antonelli about
Yeah.
branding.
One of the best.
Yeah,
The best. What am I
exactly.
saying?
He's the goat of branding, especially in this space, if not multiple spaces.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, say, let's say you're setting up a landing page, are you using stock imagery? Does that still work, or is it more focused on that company, their brand, their people, images of their work? I mean,
Yeah.
what's working?
Yeah, so a landing page, right? You've got just a few seconds. You got to establish trust and build value in just a few seconds, right? One of the things kind of the big corporate guys fall short of is that is they miss out on that local service experience. If you land on a landing page and it's just a picture of a truck, you look a little too franchisey, a little too corporate. Like, I'm gonna call this number and then I have 9 options to select to talk to some customer service representative. Um, you need to you want to be authentic. You have to be authentic. Our best converting pages have the family. Put a baby in the picture, put the dog in the picture. Um, you will gain that trust, right? Because all you have in that moment to get them to move to the next step, which is pick up the phone, is you have to build that value and that trust. And so you can only do that by showing the real side of your company. You
Yeah,
know,
well, and I mean, if we think about it from a perspective of the things that have exploded in the last few years, short videos, like stuff that shows behind the scenes, not the sales facing, professionally done stuff. That stuff has a place for brand type marketing, but when it comes to like somebody wanting to hire you, they want to know like, are these people that actually live here? Is this
yeah,
someone that actually owns the company that's local? Stuff like
yeah,
that, because a lot of searches are local. They're near me. They're in
100%.
the city. I mean, this is you see this stuff all the
Yeah,
time. People want like I think there was even a survey done. I can't remember where it was from, but like people looking for a local service company don't want to go more than like 8 to 10 miles. Like it's like
100%
that's
not.
like the range. 8 to 10 miles from where they are is where they're gonna hire somebody. They don't
Yeah.
really want to go any further than that because now it's too far. Now it's the
Well,
next city you
people are, you know, people want to do business right in their local town. So the Phoenix market, for example, if I show people, if people live in Scottsdale, just right next to Phoenix, the next town over, if they see a Phoenix ad, they're less likely to call. If you live in Scottsdale, you want to see a Scottsdale ad. And so the holy grail is if you can show them an ad with the relevant keyword based on their search and based on their location, and then them to a landing page based on their keyword and their location, you are going to, you're going to outperform the average conversion rates in the industry. Agencies talk about 15 to 20% conversion rate being standard. So that means that it takes 5 to 6 clicks to turn a, uh, a to create a phone call. Well, using relevancy of location and of keyword, we're able to get 35 to 45% conversion rates. So instead of 5 or 6 clicks to get a phone call, we're three, sometimes two.
yeah.
Um, and what that results in is cheaper leads. And then on the backside of all of it, ultimately, of course, is that higher ROI.
Yeah, well, that's
Uh,
what everyone's searching for, right? Because
100%.
nobody grows a business without a return on investment when they
Yeah.
put money in. So let's change course a little bit because you do a lot of analysis for PPC. There are contractors that try to do it themselves, or they try to hire a marketing company. How can they have an idea that maybe the marketing company is not performing well? Like, what is there a few things that they can look at that says, hey, something doesn't seem right here?
Yeah, 100%. So, if you're a plumbing company, you need to ask your agency, okay, if people are searching for water heaters, am I going to a water heaters page, right? Am I, what are these landing pages doing? If you're looking for a water heater, you don't want to just see a plumber. I want to see pictures of water heaters on the page, right? So ask your agency if they're sending water heater clicks to water heater landing pages. Are we broken out by location? Right. Obviously, we've taken over accounts from many agencies, and there are a lot of great ones out there. But this, I'm so sorry for the coughing. Have to edit that out.
Someone's choking for us.
Yeah. So it's this Vegas air here. I got sand in my throat. Um. Anyways, so a lot of marketing companies they'll rinse and repeat using what's called radius targeting. So here in Vegas, they'll just set a radius of, well, everybody within 20 miles of Las Vegas will see this water heater ad, right? So the next level is you've got to break it out by suburb,
Okay.
to be successful, and ask your agency if they're doing that. I'll tell you, it's a real pain in the butt. The setup is many, many hours. We spend probably 50 man hours setting up each account to build out websites that are 700 pages, 40,000 plus ads. Um, but at the end of the day, you create that relevancy that ultimately will create more customers.
So are there, because obviously if they're now if they're doing it themselves, they may not understand some of the metrics and stuff, but an agency usually is reporting on some sort of metrics. Are there a couple key metrics that they should be looking at that they can look at from a glance and be like, okay, this is good. This could use work. This is terrible, and I need to get away from this as soon as possible.
Yeah, so your primary metric you wanna know if you're to hold your agency accountable would be that conversion rate, ultimately, because that's what it all boils down to. If I'm being lazy with my landing pages or being lazy with my ads that I'm showing people, it's all gonna be obvious in the conversion rate. So, if you're getting a 15% conversion rate, even consistently, uh, 20, then you need to ask what's going on and learn a little bit more. You can do better. There's better conversion rates out there. And obviously you want to track your cost per call, with them. So
So I like that you said conversion rate and cost per call because everyone thinks of pay per click, they think cost per click. And that's the
yeah,
number like, well, they're getting clicks for $5. Like,
yeah,
but how many leads is that generating?
yeah. I mean, I can show you clicks that are $65 that we turn into a conversion every 1.8 clicks. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So the cost per click isn't really as important, as far as a main measuring stick, because ultimately, yeah, it's kind of the marriage of the cost per click and the conversion rate. So if I have a 20% conversion rate and my cost per click is $40, well, I'm paying, $200 for that phone call,
Yeah.
right? Whereas if I have if it's a $40 click and I have a 40% conversion rate, right? Now math is getting tough.
Yeah.
Then I have a
You didn't use
$100
easy
phone call.
numbers there.
Right. Yeah, I did. But then I have a $100 call,
Yeah.
So you want to look at the blend of the two. But um, yeah, the main factor is going to be that conversion rate.
Yeah.
That will tell you if you need to deep dive into this account and give it some attention.
So when it comes to conversion rate, obviously that starts getting into the operations of a business too. Well, I mean, there's a couple conversions, right? There's a conversion of a call,
Right.
something or some sort of lead form fill or something like that
Yeah.
to the business. But there's also the cost per there's the conversion side when it actually reaches the office.
Yeah.
Are there so you obviously work with multiple clients, big, small, and in between. Is there like one or two things if you could give any advice to somebody running a business on how they can better leverage the work that their marketing company is doing from what would it be?
Yeah, 100%. It's, spend more give more time and attention to your CSRs. I across everybody that we work with, from $2 million companies to $200 million companies, the CSRs seem to be the most neglected usually. Um, you know, CSRs are notorious for order taker mentality, right? You gotta understand there we gotta add empathy. You've gotta add trust. If you're gonna have a service call, add some value around it. Hey, and we're gonna show up, you know, be excited about going out there and taking care of that customer. Um, so I would say, right, CSRs, you wanna get rid of your order taker mentality, uh, start caring about the customer, and then build value when it's time to say, I have a service call or mention, any fees and whatnot, build value before you start giving out prices.
So don't just give out the fee and then don't say anything and wait for the
Yeah.
customer to reply. This isn't a moment where you're at the kitchen table and you're like, it's going to be $15,000 for this system. And then you sit back and the next person to talk loses, right?
Yeah. So it would be fun. It'd be fun to add to the podcast, maybe next time. I'll bring like 5 calls over here of
Okay.
just like dreadful, just train wreck of where this person searched, AC repair near me. It's 106 degrees outside. They're sitting in a house with no air conditioning. Um, this is a big ticket job, right? And then the CSR just blows the call. Oh my God. So I'll send you some examples you can add to your next podcast.
Yeah.
I think
Well, that'd
that
be
would be
great because like you, I listen to that stuff frequently. And honestly, it probably agitates me more than anything else that
yeah,
we do is listening to that stuff because being on the operations side, I know you have an HVAC business and a duct cleaning business and stuff. So you're familiar with the operations side and how important that stuff is. And it gets so often overlooked.
yeah,
And I mean that the CSR part is probably the most neglected.
Easily.
because
Easily.
we know we have to train our techs, we know we have to work on our pricing, but those things usually get more attention and more love from the
100%.
coaches and the trainers that are out there. And then our CSRs they're like the least paid, but they are literally the first voice.
They're the linchpin for your company.
They're the first
Absolutely.
voice that anybody hears when they call your company. So if you just answer the phone and it's like Bob's Plumbing,
Yeah.
and you don't say, like, it's not friendly, it's not warm. And I've called companies like that. And I'm like, you kind of because you stutter on the other end
Yeah.
as a customer because you're like, okay, so am I in the right place?
Right.
Do you guys do this?
Right.
Like, there's no warmth. There's no like, man, if that's how you answer the phone, how are you going to come into my house?
100%. They need to, you got to understand, you know, a CSR answers the phone 100 times, but for that customer, it's a brand new experience every call. And so it is hard to have that enthusiasm,
Yeah.
on every call.
Well,
So,
especially when it's 106.
yeah. So the deal is ultimately right. Marketing could be crushing it. We could be getting phenomenal cost per call. But then if the ROI doesn't come out on the other side, the marketing guys always fall on the knife first, right? We always get the blame. But we got to remember, marketing is about 25% of the funnel, right? So you generate the phone call. Then what's your conversion rate on booking that call, right? And what's your cancellation rate? We've seen a lot of companies that they book a lot of jobs, but you've got an 18% cancellation rate,
Wow.
and which is it's just outrageous. When you reschedule customers 3 or 4 times, that can happen. And then obviously what's your closing rate? What's your ticket average? So you need to factor all those steps in your ROI, and maybe not necessarily take the easy route and blame your agency, step one.
At least not immediately.
Don't do
Try
it
to
immediately.
and that's always my thing is it's your agency may not be good. And there's other
It's
people
true.
there's people you can there's just like anything, there's HVAC plumbing contractors that are not good. They're just not good. They don't have good skill sets.
Yep.
Same thing can happen in any industry, but you have to dive past certain things. Like you can't just be like, well, the phone's not ringing, because we were talking about this today. And maybe this is a good segue to kind of like last topic for the end of this episode is just like search impressions. Like
Sure.
if there is no volume,
Yeah.
we can't make the phone ring. No matter what we try, you can't make the phone ring.
100%. I mean, if it's sunny and 72, it's hard to get calls for air conditioning,
Yeah.
Uh, and so there will still be demand there, right? But it is a lower quality customer. They're buying off of wants, not needs at that point, which is,
Your
I guess
close rate's going to go down.
I guess
Anytime that happens, your close rate's going to go down.
yes, your closing rates will go down. So, yeah, so there is a diminishing returns with pay-per-click, right? And so if you start pushing too hard and say you're normally paying $35 a click, now excuse me, guys. Now you're saying, well, volume is down 30%, so let's go pay $60 for a click. Well, now your call is going to go from $100 to 200, and then your closing rate's going to go down, and all of a sudden your profitability is impossible. It's
Yeah.
impossible to make money. So, long story longer, just don't. You can only push it so hard. If demand is not there, there are no miracles that can be worked to make that happen.
So the answer isn't necessarily just spend more money.
Yeah, you can't. It's not. It's not always the answer. You can't always do that. So, in the times we've tried it, it's like, yeah, we get more calls, we got more techs run trucks, but you look at the end of the week, how much money did you keep in your bank, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, and
You
I
know?
feel like sometimes that can be a bit of a hamster wheel, right?
Yeah.
Because there's agencies out there where it's always, I got to spend more on pay-per-click.
Yeah.
I got to spend more. And that's where I think the mistrust comes in. Is it feels like, okay, at some point, am I ever going to make a profit?
Yeah.
Otherwise, why am I doing this? Why
Right.
do I even have the stress of managing this, having these calls when you're just telling me to spend more money?
I would say, when demand is down, that's the time you need to get more aggressive with your offers, right? So if your job board is dead and you have a $99 service call, take it down to a $0 service call,
So that's
fill
that's
up
a great
the board.
topic, and So that wasn't going to be the last topic. Now we talked about this because,
Right.
and people need to remember your service fee, your consultation fee, your evaluation fee, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
It's just a barometer. The busier you are, the higher the fee is.
100%.
When you are not busy, just like Forrest said, and I want to hammer this point home. If your board's dead, I'm getting in that house.
Yes.
You know what? Hey, even if you have to play the game where you have to put someone on hold and go talk to a manager, even if you are the owner answering the phone call and you have to quote unquote go talk to the manager, find a way to get in the home, because one opportunity is always better than none.
That's right.
And if you don't get in the home, you'll never have a chance for anything. You'll never have a chance to gain a new customer.
100%.
And it's stuff like that that needs to be remembered when you guys are talking with your marketing agencies. Work with them on this stuff. And people that have experience like Forrest does, they can talk you through this stuff and have these conversations where if someone has not really been in the business that much, they may not be able to understand these little triggers and things that we can do to keep you busy when the demand is not.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think more contractors need to take a look at lifetime customer value, especially in the low demand times. You set up those maintenance agreements. Sometimes it's a dry run. You go out there, but focus on, you got to rethink about that building customers for life, a lot of times these are the extreme low demand times, right? A lot of times you go out there and you can make money, but it's just in lower demand times, lower the barriers of entry for your customers. Get a sticker on a unit and get out there, get them on an email list and remarket to them, forever. They're going to call you again in 6 months.
Well, and I think that's the value of one customer is often overlooked because we're always looking for the next lead, the next estimate, the next system, the next $20,000 job. But one customer could be 3 customers with referrals. Get on their email list. They have family members. They have friends. They're in local Facebook groups, next door groups, whatever the case is. That value of one person is so much larger than we give it credit for. And we're always looking for, I need new leads. I need new customers. And yes, you need that. But at the same token, you also have hundreds, most businesses, they've been in business a year or two. They have several hundred raving fans that are ready to promote your business. You just have to talk to them and let them actually say something nice about your business.
100%. I'll give you a great example of this. So, excuse me, guys, I hope we can edit that out. Okay. Starting over. All right. So I'll give you a great example of this. So I run an HVAC company. I've got two great partners in Dallas. We do dryer vent cleaning. Okay. We have dryer vents. Dryer vents are $195. We make about $20 on that dryer vent. Well, we get in the house for that low ticket. We build the trust, wow them. Wow, look at all this lint. Oh my God. Oh, by the way, while we're in here, hey, can we take a look at your ductwork for you? We'll do a free inspection, make sure you're good to go. All of a sudden, bam, you that $20 profit can turn into a $1,200 profit because I'm doing a full duct cleaning. Now I'm doing flow switches or drain pans. Very simple things. And so those low ticket, it's like on Facebook ads, you see all these marketing gurus selling $7 ebooks, right? Well, you buy the $7 ebook.
I bought a few of those and I spent way more than $7 freaking dollars.
I need to start selling $7 ebooks.
Yes, you do.
Because the day after you about 5 minutes after you buy that $7 ebook, some guy's calling you with a $5,000 course. They want you to get a hold of. Hurry now, the offer is expiring, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with those kind of get in the door services. Dryer vent cleaning is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's
And I think and stuff like that, dryer vent cleaning, you don't need any training. You literally have a screwdriver and you can pull it out and you can honestly almost pull the lint out yourself with your hand. You don't need, or get a screwdriver with a little brush or something on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could very easily add a service where you're getting in the door or add it to your maintenance plans. And all of a sudden now you're looking at other pieces of the home.
100%.
So that's
100%. So yeah, just get creative. I mean, that's the thing. What sort of sister services could you offer that are easy to get in the house and create demand elsewhere? Build relationships elsewhere. So.
Well, dude, this was great.
Dude, I appreciate having me.
I can't believe we haven't had you on before. I talk to you all the time now, and I feel like we're fast becoming friends just because we love the marketing.
Well, we're roommates, so there's
we are roommates now. So But this was great having you on. I know you had a little cough issue, so I'm glad you bared with us for that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully the editor doesn't, I didn't drive him too crazy.
We'll talk to the production team and make sure that they try to get that out. So hopefully if you hear us say this at the end, you didn't hear any of the coughing. So you're just like, what the hell are these guys even talking about?
Right.
But Forrest, thank you. This was great, man. Can't wait to hang out with you again.
Pleasure to join you. Yeah, I got to give a good nod to Josh Crouch. Josh Crouch, everything you're doing with Relentless. You're one of the good guys, man. This Josh Crouch, more passion than most marketers around here, and keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Thanks, Forrest.
Thank you.
Love it.
Hey there, listener. This is Tersh with Service Business Mastery Podcast. Check out more information on Company Cam and some of the great features that they offer.
Are you in HVAC? Looking to save an hour a day every day? Are you looking for the latest tool to help your business scale? Well, we have the
You maybe couldn't tell, but I'm no HVAC tech. And the thought of telling a pilot light from a gas valve has me sweating bullets. Hi, I'm Jordan, and I work at Company Cam. I may not have the tools to fix a furnace, but I do have the tool for your photo documentation needs. See what Company Cam can do for you.
Keep all your different project photos organized by date and location while using annotations and comments to keep workflows clear, all from your phone. Check it out today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.